Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the video. I want to talk about my silly little TV shows again. So that's going to be essentially the entire purpose of this video. Yeah, for the unaware, have seen a concerning number of Emmy winners in my time. Fun fact, since the year 1999, I have seen over 100 winners of the Big Seven drama categories. It's a scary fact, but it is a fact. And today, we're going to talk about the actors of those 107 wins. Now, I have made a tier list that has every actor that I've seen who's won an Emmy, with the sole exception of the actors from Shogun. They did just win lead actor and lead actress, but I want to watch Shogun again. I think I'm going to see it a second time, and then I will give full thoughts, because I feel like I need to watch it for a second time to really flush out my feelings. So, but aside from those two, everyone else I've seen who's won an Emmy is in this video. Now, to go over how this video is going to work, because again, it's a tier list, I have two factors for my rankings. Factor one is simply the actual performance. Like, do I think the actor did a good job, right? The second factor is simply, do I like the character more than anything else? Like, being a good actor is one thing, but I also have feelings about all of these characters as characters. So we'll get into that. Before I begin, I need to make one thing abundantly clear, okay? This is just my opinion. These are my opinions on the actors whose wins I have seen. I have not seen every Emmy winner. Maybe one day. Actually, probably one day I will get there, but not yet. And as of this point, these are just my opinions, okay? These are the actors I've seen. These are my thoughts on them. You could disagree with all of them if you so choose. Okay, here's my screen. There's a lot of actors down there. To be clear, I did have to think about it. Like, there's Allison Janney. We'll use Allison Janney as an example. She won 4 Emmys as CJ Craig for The West Wing. I've seen the entirety of The West Wing. So I've seen all 4 of the seasons for which she won those Emmys. I'm only putting her on here once, because if I included multiples, like between her, the various soprano members, Walter White, like, there would be a lot more repetition here, and I figured one character is good enough. Okay, let's get to the tiers now, shall we? We're gonna start at the bottom, okay? The bottom tier is no. These are the people where I unironically and frankly don't think they should have won. That could have been because there was a different nominee that I think should have won, or because I frankly think their performance was not Emmy worthy. There are various reasons, but the no tier is like, you shouldn't have gotten that Emmy win, okay? Then I get it. These are the tiers where I don't love it, I'm not happy about it, but I understand why they won. Maybe it's just that they came from, like, the TV show that was winning everything that year. Maybe it's just that it's an actor that wins a lot of awards and is very critically acclaimed. It's the I get it tier. Okay, then the great tier. These are for the great performances, okay? The performances where I'm happy they won, I get why they won, I'm pleased they won. Then the exceptional. These are the, truly incredible performances. Maybe not, like, the best I've ever seen, but more than Emmy worthy for sure. Like, multiple Emmy wins deservingly, okay? Then the GOAT. The GOAT tier are my favorites, okay? They are the ones where not only do I understand why they won, not only am I happy they won, not only did I want them to win, these are the characters. This is really where the character part comes into play, because the GOATs are for the characters that I love, with the best performances, deserved heaps of Emmy wins. Like, they're the GOATs. And starting us off, we have friend of the channel, John Locke. I get why Terry O'Quinn won that Emmy. I do understand it. I'm not thrilled about it. I think, especially from Lost, there were other actors that I probably would have given an Emmy to first, but I get it. Next, we have the one and only Alicia Florrick, played truly incredibly by Juliana Margulies. I love that actress, like the woman herself, Miss Juliana. I love her. She's one of the greatest actresses I've ever seen. I will die on that hill. And in addition to that, as Alicia Florrick, she ate. She ate every scene she was in. I will concede, I have not seen The Good Wife since it ended. I watched it as it was airing for a bit, and then I caught up really fast when it was ending. And I remember loving her. I remember being so compelled by her. And again, Juliana Margulies is, again, one of the best actresses I've ever seen. I really think The Morning Show is what sold me on her. But even so, like, she is so talented. Truly one of the greatest. Next is Alan Alda as Arnold Vinnick from The West Wing. I should probably say which show they're from. These are from The West Wing. I get it. I do. The West Wing itself, my favorite show. Like, my favorite show ever. There's a 50-50 that one day you are going to suddenly be greeted by like a 9-hour mega video about The West Wing. And we all need to be okay with the knowledge that that will one day occur. But until then, let's talk about Arnold Vinnick and Alan Alda. I get it, right? It wouldn't have been my first choice of an Emmy winner, even for late stage of The West Wing. I do understand. I think he was actually the last, like, acting award the show ever got, which is fascinating. But even so, like, of, especially The West Wing itself, like, there are so many West Wing characters on this list. Of all of them, I think he deserved it the least, even though his performance was good. I'm depressed now. We have Dame Maggie Smith, my queen, my, I don't want to say mother, but my everything. Light of my life. It was exceptional. Oh, it's for her role in Downton Abbey. Violet Crawley is the name. It was exceptional. I never finished Downton Abbey. I probably should, but I did see the first, like, 4 or so seasons. She was incredible. She was so funny. And she displayed... There's one clip from Downton Abbey that I will remember truly to my death day. It was when Sybil died. And she comes to the house. And you see the level of grief that she managed to portray was amazing. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen. I think about it concerningly often. Oh god, it's time for Denny Crane of Boston Legal, played by William Shatner. I need to contemplate where I'm going to put this man. I think great. Here's the thing, because I did rewatch Boston Legal this year. Here's the thing that makes Denny Crane as a character so fascinating to me as someone who's seen Boston Legal several times. I watched it for the first time in like 2007 when I was 8 years old and I shouldn't have been allowed to watch it. And then again, I most recently watched it this year in 2024. And what makes him so interesting as a character, in the modern day specifically, is that at the time that Boston Legal was released, like the mid-2000s, it was very clearly satire of an insane Republican. And now that's just the Republican Party. Denny Crane would not seem weird in the modern day Republican Party, and that's what makes it so interesting to me as a character. Because on the one hand, in the show, he's meant to be insane. He's canonically not mentally well. But in the modern day, he would be considered normal. And I find that fascinating. As for his performance, it is a great performance. He won it for season 1, and I actually think season 1 is one of the weaker performances by him. I think seasons 2 and 3 are better. But also, season 1 is the year that it actually won a good few Emmys. So, I get it. And also, he is just a great character. If you haven't seen Boston Legal, go into it with the caveat that it was filmed and released and originated in 2005 as a spin-off of a show that began in the 90s. And go in with that mindset. Like, do not expect it. Like, you're gonna get offended, essentially. Like, a large portion of the show is just blatant sexual harassment at the workplace. If you're able to overlook that, one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. Next, Allison Janney playing CJ Craig in The West Wing. No, I'm not. I was gonna put her in the GOAT tier. I don't think she's at that level. She is incredible as CJ Craig. She won so many Emmys for that role. Like, I think the show itself got, 9 acting Emmys? And she has 4 of them. She's the only one who won more than once, to my knowledge. So, she is so good in that show. I do think part of it is just like she is an Emmy darling, because she's won like 7 of them at this point. And she's just so good in the show. Like, as an actress, she's incredible. In the show, I think, dare I say, I'm thinking about my 9-hour upcoming West Wing mega video. Dare I say CJ Craig had the best arc? No. No, because I think they ruined her in the later seasons, but she won it in the earlier seasons. Like, she won it, I think, for the first 4 seasons straight, and she was so good in those that, like, I just gotta give her flowers. Next, we have Michael Emerson playing Benjamin Linus in Lost. I would like to stress, I'm not looking these names up. I know this. I know this off the top of my head. We should be concerned about me. As for Benjamin Linus, who we should also be concerned about, I'm gonna put him in the great tier. I do think as an actor, he was exceptional. But I think there was just something holding it back. I think if they let him be a little more insane, maybe not insane, insane isn't the right word, more unabashedly villainous, I guess I would say. I will give him that. I do think about, like, he's another actor where I think about certain scenes he's done constantly. The one for him from this role is when Alex dies, where he's like on the walkie-talkie being like, "You're not gonna kill her. Like, I don't care about her. I don't love her at all." And then what's his name shoots her, and you just see this realization wash over Michael Emerson's face. It was so good. It was so good. Should I put him up in exceptional? No, I'm gonna leave him where he is, but he did do a great job. Oh, Roman Roy. I'm sorry. I get it. Like, this is one where, from an acting standpoint, I get it. I fully understand why he won that Emmy from an acting standpoint. The problem is I hate Roman Roy. Like, as a character, I can't fucking stand him. Which I guess can go to the acting credits, right? Like, he was made to not be likable, and they did a good job with it. I just hate him. So I'm putting him in a lower tier as a result because I'm biased and it's my video. Next, we have Josh O'Connor as Prince Charles in The Crown. I need to put it in no, and I need to explain my logic for why. Here's the context I need you to understand. There's a few actors from The Crown that are actually going to get lower tiers because they won in 2021, which is the year The Crown won every major award, because it was really the only big show that came out that was like a big Emmy winner other than The Handmaid's Tale. And here's my thing specifically with Josh O'Connor's win. If he'd won as a supporting actor, I would have been much more in favor of it. He won as a lead actor. He won as the lead actor in this season of The Crown, and I don't get it. I don't think he was a lead actor. I understand they put him in as a lead actor, and he was nominated as a lead actor, and he won as a lead actor. He wasn't a lead actor. And Josh O'Connor does a fine job. I forget the name of the guy who replaces him as, like, the older Charles. I think he did a better job. Like, the older guy did a better job. Josh O'Connor did a fine job. Like, he did a good job. He didn't do an Emmy performance-worthy job. Speaking of 2021 The Crown winners, Olivia Colman as Queen Elizabeth. I'm putting her in the great tier. I do think she did a great job in the role. I think she was arguably not perfectly cast, because there's other casting from The Crown that I think was actually a little scary how good it was, but she did do a great job in the role. Like, as an actress, I was so compelled by her. My one caveat with her, because she went for season 4 of The Crown, which is this season that everything won, and I think she did better in season 3. I do. I remember, like, in real time as I was watching, because I knew The Crown had swept the Emmys with season 4. And as I was watching season 3, I was like, why isn't this the season she won for? Because I vividly remember loving her in season 3, and while she was great in season 4, she wasn't quite as good. Next, the most recent addition to this list, Lee Jung-jae in Squid Game. Yes, I only watched Squid Game for the first time in 2024, leave me alone. Exceptional. Exceptional acting from this man. I cried so many times watching Squid Game, specifically the like marbles episode. That broke me. And I'm pretty sure the episode he won for. That episode broke me in every way. And in just the show in general, he was so good. My one thing, I understand narratively what's going on. I would have spent that damn money. Are you kidding me? I went through absolute hell. My best friend killed himself in front of me. And I was given $50 million. If nothing else, I'm getting therapy. If nothing else, that money is going to therapy. Next, Bradley Whitford from The West Wing as Josh Lyman. I'm going to put him in the great tier. I understand, because here's my thing with Josh Lyman. Early Josh Lyman, I was so here for it. And that's what he won for. He won for the early seasons. And I think he won for season 2 or 3, if I recall correctly. And he's great there. The thing is, I kind of hate what they do to his character. I'm going to save that for my 9-hour West Wing mega video. But he is great in the role. Like, the character is definitely, of the West Wing, one of the most complex psychologically, like narratively. He's a very complex man, and I love that about him. He's also acted perfectly by Bradley Whitford, and just in general, he did a great job, and I'm so glad he has an Emmy for it. Next, Jennifer Coolidge as Tanya What's-Her-Name from White Lotus. I get it. I do. Can I be perfectly honest? White Lotus Season 2 is really bad. There are a couple shows from HBO that had a great first season and never should have had a second season. I can think of several off the top of my head. And one of them is The White Lotus. White Lotus Season 1 was great. I actually did not put, now that I'm thinking about it, any of the White Lotus winners from Season 1 on this list. I'm not going back and changing it. We're doing mainline drama Emmys, okay? And White Lotus Season 2 is really bad. It's bad in so many ways. I understand why she won. Of the cast of that season especially, she was the standout. But there were a couple actors, or actresses I should say, who were up for the Emmy that year, because it was 2023 when she won. And there were a couple from Succession specifically that I would have personally preferred win, that I think did a better job. Jennifer Coolidge did a good job, don't get me wrong, but she didn't do an Emmy-worthy job, if you ask me. Guys, we've hit our first Sopranos character, Adriana Lacerva, to be specifically. I'm going to put her in the great tier. Here's the thing. I understand why she won, because I'm pretty sure she won for season 5, which is the last season she's in. And I understand why she won. She did absolutely deserve an Emmy for her role, and I'm very glad that she has one. However, in similar ways to other actors on this list, I think there were other seasons of the show that were better. Like, she put on better performances, and I think she should have won for those more. But in general, as a character, she's great. Next, we have James Spader, perfectly playing Alan Shore in Boston Legal. Now, actually, to be clear, some lore, he's going in the GOAT tier. Some lore, James Spader actually started playing Alan Shore on The Practice. I never finished The Practice. He did win an Emmy for it on The Practice, and then went on to star in Boston Legal, where he won another Emmy. And this man, the chokehold this man had on my early development cannot be overstated. I'm firmly of the opinion the reason I love a good monologue is because of this man. Is because so much of Boston Legal's best moments are him giving closing statements, are him monologuing for minutes at a time perfectly, and both of the episodes he won for are some of his best. I want to highlight the first win he got, because he won technically 3 times, but 2 times with Boston Legal. And in that scene, the scene in particular that does it for me, I should say, in the episode he won for, because the whole concept is he's in Texas, and he's arguing against a death penalty case. And you know he's going to lose. You go in, they make it so clear he's going to lose, and in the back of your mind you do think he's going to win, and he does lose. Spoilers, he does lose. But the argument itself, like the court scene, he just monologues for like 2 straight minutes. And it's one of the greatest monologues I've ever heard in my life. I'm not even remotely kidding. This man, James Spader, has had some of the greatest monologues I have ever heard in my entire life in the history of my television watching experience. And as you can see just from this video, I've seen a lot of really critically acclaimed television. And I truly think he was one of the greatest actors I've ever seen, playing one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Because Alan Shore is simultaneously not a good person and is a good person. He's very morally great, not in like a Walter White, Tony Soprano kind of way where like they're a bad person but you root for them anyway. Alan Shore is a good person and simultaneously a bad person in a way that is so deeply compelling that I cannot help but put him in the GOAT category. Next we have Michael Imperioli as Christopher Moltisanti of The Sopranos. I'm putting it in the great tier. I am. I don't remember what episode or season or seasons. Does he have one or two? I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure he went for season 5, if nothing else. And season 5 is a great season for him. He did such a good job in season 5. And my one thing with him is it's similar to Adriana, where I get why he won. Like, he was in the show the whole fucking time. And he was such a prominent character, it almost made sense for him to have an Emmy win for his role. And I'm glad he got one. And I'm glad it came for that season. But I also think his performance could have been a little bit better, especially season 6. He's not doing his best work. Now that I'm looking at this man, has anyone ever made the Christopher Moltisanti Jesse Pinkman comparison? Because I'm sure the answer is yes. Like, I'm sure somewhere on Reddit or Twitter, or at least at the time Breaking Bad was airing, the comparison was there. Because people compare Walter White and Tony Soprano a lot. But either way, I'm now having the visions. That's not the point. I'm going to put him in the I get it tier, actually. Believe it or not. I think he being Aaron, he did a good job by the end of the show. He was doing, maybe not a great job, but a good job. And I really think part of why he won, because he won 2 or 3 times, and I think part of it is just because Breaking Bad as a show was so, just both critically acclaimed and also really good. So, I think that's part of it. Here's my thing, okay? With a lot of these other actors, I don't think they would have won with the role had it been played by anyone else. Like, no one else could have played CJ Craig and still won 4 Emmys, right? The thing with Jesse and the people in this tier for the most part is I think anyone could have played that role and it would have won the Emmy, if that makes sense. Moving right along, Claire Foy, also as Queen Elizabeth, exceptional. She was my favorite of the 3 Elizabeth actresses. She won what? Did she win Best Guest Actress this year, actually? I don't remember, but I know she won at least 2 Emmys for this role. Maybe 3? I don't know anymore. I'm tired. But she won, and she was so good. There's a part of me that unironically wishes, like, I understand a whole thing with The Crown is that it's set over the course of 60 years, and they recycle the actresses every 2 years. Every 2 seasons, but there's a part of me that really does wish she was just the queen the whole time. Like, put her in aging makeup. I don't fucking know. Figure it out. I think if we just kept her, it would have been an even better show. And it was already an incredible show, but it would have been an even better show. Up next, Elizabeth Moss as June Osborne / of Fred in The Handmaid's Tale. Exceptional. Really and truly exceptional. I did not finish The Handmaid's Tale, if I'm being honest. This is me time. We'll get into it more when I make my year-end TV show video that I will be making. But The Handmaid's Tale gets bad really fast. Like, I noticed an immediate sharp decline after the end of season 3. And thankfully she won for her earlier work. She won for season 1. I believe she won for the first episode even. And seasons 1 through 3 of her are so perfect. Like, so good. She's acting so incredibly. I, of course, first saw her in The West Wing, but in this role, she was so good. The character is so compelling. Everything about it was just giving me everything I could have wanted. Next, our other Handmaid's Tale acting win and out as Aunt Lydia. It was great. Personally, if I were to be fully insane and biased, I would put her in the GOAT tier. I had a weird love for that woman. I can't explain it. I really can't. But I did really like her. And she was so good in season 1. She was so incredible throughout that show, at least for the first 3 seasons. And it was so perfect. I'm so glad she got her Emmy win. I'm glad she got her flowers, because she frankly deserved. Next, John Lithgow as Winston Churchill in The Crown. It's a no for me. It really is. I understand why he won. I could theoretically put him in an I get it tier. The thing is, I've seen this man act in several things in my life, I know he can give a phenomenal performance. And that's what makes his time on The Crown a bit disappointing for me, because he did a good job, but it's like, if I know you can do a great job in a role, that's what I want. That's what I expect. And I don't think he did a great job as Winston Churchill. He was, I think, the first acting win for The Crown. And I don't think he deserved it. Next! Archie Punjabi as Kalinda Sharma in The Good Wife. Exceptional. Exceptional. I need you to understand some context before I really get into why I love it so much. I first watched The Good Wife at, I believe, like 14, 15 is when I first watched The Good Wife, and I was obsessed with her. She is like a classic bad bitch. So there is that going for her. She also is just a really compelling character. I hated the way they wrote her out of the show. I vividly recall that I hated the way they wrote her out of the show, but as a character when she was in it, I loved her. She was so good. Like, she was exceptional. Next is Jeremy Strong as Kendall Roy in Succession. Exceptional. I don't think I need to explain this one. I feel like we as a collective kind of just agreed Jeremy Strong did God's work when he played Kendall Roy. He really did. He did such an incredible job. I feel like I don't need to explain it. Like, if you've seen Succession, you understand. Next, we have our current award holder, Billy Crudup as Corey Ellison on The Morning Show. He did a great job. He did. He did a great job in that show. He was very compelling to me. I've said this if you've watched my morning show videos. That man slowly just became more and more interesting and compelling to me. Like, when I started the morning show, I hated him. I couldn't stand him. He pissed me off. And as the show went off, like with season 2 and season 3, he grew on me. And he did a great job in this role. Everyone shut up. It's time to talk about John Spencer, who played Leo McGarry on The West Wing. That is my king. That is my man. That is my fallen angel. Okay? I love Leo McGarry. I really do. And John Spencer plays him so perfectly. Like, the voice alone just does so much. His little smirk that he always has, his little smile, the way he perfectly bounced off Martin Sheen, who's not on this list and should have been, but just everything about him, the way he bounced off the other actors, just everything about him as Leo McGarry was God tier. Next, Jeff Daniels as Will McAvoy from The Newsroom. He did a great job. It's not that complicated. Like, he's not the best acting one I've ever seen, and especially from Aaron Sorkin, definitely not his best work, but he's still a great acting performance. He's a great character. He did a great job. Next, the queen herself, Carmela Soprano, played flawlessly by Edie Falco. Yeah. I feel like it's frankly blasphemous to put her anywhere else, and I will concede. I love Carmela Soprano. I do. I've been rewatching Sopranos with the bestie, and everything she does, I love. I love the way she's played, and I love her as a character. And it's just, I feel like, again, it would be blasphemy for me to not put her in the GOAT tier. Next, Ralph Cifaretto. I do not know the name of this actor. I don't even have a guess, but it's Ralph Cifaretto. He did a great job. He really did. Here's the thing, because I feel like it's similar to Roman Roy, where you hate him. And you're meant to hate him, but you hate him in such a different way. I don't think you understand. This is a true story, actually, that I think is funny. So as just mentioned, I'm watching The Sopranos with Bestie. She hates this man. And I used to joke with her. I'd be like, because I told her going, and I was like, be prepared for everyone to fucking die. Like, any character, if their last name isn't Soprano, be prepared to watch them die on screen. So she assumed he was gonna die. And I told her, you know what? When he dies, I'll bring out some champagne. Like, I'll pop champagne for us. And I managed to sneak a bottle of wine over to the couch without her noticing. When we were watching, like, right before he died, I was like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I snuck a bottle of wine back to the couch. And right before Tony starts to choke him out, I just put the wine on the table. And it elevated the scene so much. It really did. Because we were both cheering as this man was literally choked out to death. And he was played perfectly. That's the thing. The fact that you can play a character so unlikable to the point that he gets, like, you're cheering when he dies. It's just, it was so good. He did such a good job. I did some Googling. And his name is Joe Pantoliano. We're assuming I pronounced that right and moving right along. Sarah Snook as Siobhan Shiv Roy in Succession. I think I could genuinely put her in any of these three tiers. I'm going to go dead center and put her in great. Because here's the thing. Obviously she was going to win. Like, Succession was such an Emmy darling. I'm honestly surprised this was her only win. Apparently she wasn't up as lead actress until season 4. In what world was she not a lead actress in that show? You're telling me you had 4 lead characters in season 4? Whatever. Anyway, she did do a good job. She did a great job. But I feel like, in comparison to other performances of the show, specifically the character she was interacting with the most, Matthew Macfadyen as Tom, who we will get to, she just was never on par with him. And I think that's so interesting, because she did do a great job. But you know what? Let me do him. Where is he? Where are you, Tom? There you are. He's going an exceptional. I feel like it does make sense to do these two together because he was acting in every scene with her in ways that I feel like she did not match. And in addition, he was acting in scenes without her. Like, Matthew Macfadyen, the king that you are, he was doing such a good job in almost every scene. There were very few scenes of him where I was like, see, that was a miss for me. Every scene was giving. And I think that's very impressive. Speaking of deeply unhappy marriages, let's talk Anna Gunn as Skylar White in Breaking Bad. Yeah, here's the thing. It's like Jessie, where, like, obviously she was gonna win for Breaking Bad, because Breaking Bad is such a good show. But I don't think she was giving Emmy-level performances, especially when you consider some of the performance she was up against. In fact, where is it? It's right here. Pulled up a list. If you look at who she beat on this list right now, she was beating Christine Baranski as Diane Lockhart, right? Like, she was beating Maggie Smith as Violet Crawley. She was beating characters and performances that were objectively better than hers. And I think that's such a big part of it. There's another actor later on that I'm going to say the same thing about, where it's not that you did a bad job, it's that you did a fine job, but you didn't do an Emmy job, and you beat excellent performances. And that's why I didn't like her when she like, that's why I'm not thrilled she won. That's why she's in the no tier. This next one is complicated but similar to Anna Gunn, so I need you to follow me, okay? We have Gillian Anderson as Margaret Thatcher from The Crown. It's going in the no tier for the same reason as Josh O'Connor. She won in 2021, which is the year that The Crown won everything. And she didn't give the best performance of the ones that were nominated, but more importantly, the lady who played Diana, I'm blanking on her name now, but the lady who played Diana in specifically the season 3 and 4 era of The Crown was phenomenal. One of the best performances I've ever seen. And she was up in the lead actress category and she lost to Olivia Colman, and I get that. I think they should have put her in supporting. And I think she should have won as supporting, because she wasn't a lead actress in that season. If anything, she should have been nominated as a lead actress. Like, Elizabeth Debicki should have been nominated as lead actress, and we'll get to her. But I think her name was Emma Corrin. Am I making that up? I'll double check when I'm done speaking. But she did one of the best performances I've seen from The Crown. A show that has so many people on this list. And I'm mad she lost. Even if she didn't lose to Gillian Anderson, it's that The Crown didn't nominate her as a supporting actress, and Gillian Anderson shouldn't have won. Like, even of the people she was up against that year, she was up against Anne Dowd, she was up against, what's her name from Handmaid's Tale, Samira, what's her last name? I'm blanking. But she was up against her, she was up against Helena Bonham Carter. She was up against better performances. and she shouldn't have won. I was right. It was Emma Corrin. Now for Tobias Menzies. I had to check his name too. He played Prince Philip in that like middle chunk of the Crown episodes. No, he shouldn't have won. He only won because the Crown won everything that year. And again, I pulled up a list for us. Shall we? Okay, here are the people he was up against. He was up against this lineup. And this lineup, of the ones I've seen, at the very least, he should have won. Giancarlo Esposito absolutely should have won. The fact that Giancarlo Esposito, to my knowledge, has never won an Emmy is crazy to me. Bradley Whitford should have won. Like, there are just so many performances that were better. And they only gave it to him because the Crown was sweeping everything that year. I'm suddenly looking at the bottom tier. And spoilers, none of these actors are going to go down there. And there's a lot of people from The Crown down there. It's 80% The Crown actors and 60% The Crown season 4 wins. So it was a good season. Whatever. Stockard Channing as Abigail Bartlett in The West Wing. That's what we're up to. I get it. I do. She won specifically, I believe, the year that they switched Allison Janney from supporting actress to lead actress. And she won lead actress that year, and Stockard Channing won supporting. And I get why she won. I do. But it's not her best performance. And there are better performances from her that didn't win, specifically again in like season 1, season 2. And I'm just... she didn't give an Emmy-winning performance when she won. And again, if I know you can do a great job, I want you to do that excellent god-tier work that I know you're capable of, and when you don't, I'm disappointed. Okay, I decided we're going to mix up the order ever so slightly, and we're going to talk Richard Schiff as Toby Ziegler in The West Wing. An exceptional performance. Incredible. Toby Ziegler displays, I don't want to say clinical depression, but just general melancholy so perfectly. In a way that shouldn't work but does. He's acted beautifully. The episode he won for is incredible. It's just all around he deserves that win, and it is an exceptional performance. I lied again. I'm actually going to reorganize this. I kind of want to do Walter White and Tony Soprano last. So we're going to do Zendaya next as Rue. Where am I going to put this? I'm so conflicted because here's the thing. She won twice. And the first time belongs in great. And the second time belongs in no. So I'm going to put her between them in the I get it tier. Because similar to The White Lotus, here's the thing. Euphoria season 2 is really fucking bad. Like, horribly bad. My Euphoria hot take, I don't actually know if I mentioned this before. I think Euphoria should have been a mini-series, like one season, that's it. And the last scene of the show should have been when Jules gets on the train and goes off and Rue stays back, and then Rue goes home and Rue relapses and she does a line. I think if that was the last shot of Euphoria and we never got a season 2, it would have gone down as one of the actual greatest shows of all time. Season 1 of Euphoria is really fucking good. And they didn't do that. And they brought them back for those 2 one-off episodes. And those are good. And then season 2 is terrible. Season 2 is awful. And that's one of the seasons she won for. To be fair, the episode she won for in season 2 is one of the only good parts of the show. Like, there's one good episode in season 2, and that is the one Zendaya won for. However, in general, I can't overlook the fact that season 2 is really fucking bad. And I can't put her in great with the knowledge that season 2 of Euphoria is really fucking bad. Next, let's talk Elizabeth Debicki. Now, you remember I said Emma Corrin, one of the best performances I saw from The Crown? Elizabeth Debicki was the greatest performance from that show. Specifically, if they gave it to her in season 5, I would feel differently. The thing is, they gave it to her for season 6, and the first 4 episodes of season 6 of The Crown are some of the greatest television I've ever seen. It has this tension, at least when I was watching it, it had this tension that you know Diana's gonna die. Like, we all know what happened to Princess Diana. And you know it's coming. At least for me when I was watching it. you know it's coming, and you don't know when it's gonna happen. Like when exactly. At least I didn't, because I watched it when all 10 episodes were out. So I didn't know when she was gonna die. And it added this level of tension to her performance in particular. It was so good. Plus she gave an incredible performance. I'm actually, like, my friend who I was watching the Emmys with can attest, I fucking cheered when she won. She was the only win that year that I truly wholeheartedly cheered for. Actually, that's not true. I cheered when Baby Reindeer won Best Anthology, I think. But other than that, of the ones we're talking about, her performance in season 6 was the best performance from The Crown. That's my personal opinion. She did the perfect job. Okay, it's time for what is, I would say, the two most like well-known performances on this tier list, which is of course Bryan Cranston and James Gandolfini as Walter White and Tony Soprano. We're gonna start Bryan Cranston, Walter White. I know someone's gonna get mad about that. I do. I think he did. Like, if I were to rank this tier, he would be at the top of it. He's just below GOAT, because he did do an amazing job. But I don't think he's on par with the people in the GOAT tier. Maybe John Spencer, but I'm emotionally attached to him. But from an objective standpoint, if I'm being objective, he did do an amazing job. He did. He did one of the greatest performances of modern television in a drama. He did, like, factually. But I don't think it's quite at GOAT level, if that makes sense. I feel like people are only going to get madder when I put James Gandolfini in GOAT, but I have to. James Gandolfini, because here's the thing with Bryan Cranston, in comparison, is that James Gandolfini just had to show, to me, a wider range of emotion. And he showed them all perfectly. I was watching this thing actually last night, and it was an interview that James Gandolfini did way back in the day. And it was about how he acted his rage. And he would be like, I wouldn't sleep at night. Like, I would sleep 2 hours. He'll get fucking pissed. He walked around with stones in his shoes. He would drink 8 cups of coffee on no sleep. Like, he played rage perfectly. James Gandolfini, if I had to rank this top tier, he might even be number 1. I'm of the opinion, because I watched The Sopranos and Breaking Bad pretty close together. I actually watched them at the same time, because I watched Breaking Bad with the bestie, but James Gandolfini's Tony Soprano is, both like as an acting sense and culturally, one of the greatest performances of my lifetime. Like, James Gandolfini did such an amazing job as Tony Soprano. And then you add in the fact that what Tony Soprano did culturally for television changed the way television exists. We wouldn't have a Walter White without a Tony Soprano. And I feel like that cultural impact combined with the flawless acting that man did, he belongs in the GOAT tier. I'm gonna be so honest now that we're finished with the ranking. When I thought of this video idea, I thought it was gonna be like a cool 30 to 40 minutes of me sitting here. I've been sitting here for like an hour. So, clearly I have thoughts. But that was the video. If you liked it, you can like and subscribe if you want to, or don't. I'll be okay either way. Comment your thoughts on my rankings down below. Let me know what you think. And I think that's it. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye!